Hello and welcome to another episode of Graham and Ann's Great Adventures.
If you enjoy our travels.
G'day, this episode we're travelling down the Turquoise Coast in Western Australia. From Geraldton to Cervantes, we've got some great low cost and free camps to share with you. Anne enjoys the wildflowers and we both enjoy some fresh lobster at Cervantes. So I hope you enjoy what we've got coming up. Start of this trip, we're at the coastal town of Geralton, which is approximately 420 kilometres northwest of Perth.
Used to bring me down. I'm stronger now. Used to toss me about. I'm wiser now. Feel the tide coming. Know the feeling.
Geraldton is the third largest town in Western Australia and with a population of over 32,000 people. We'll just have a look at some of the highlights around town. St Francis Xavier Cathedral, original construction was commenced in 2016 and recent times they've started a restoration program, so it's a beautiful heritage building to have a look at while you're in town.
Days of trying.
There's a beach close to town. There's also some other restored heritage buildings as you stroll along the main streets. Geraldton also has a busy port facility. HMAS Sydney 2, the Memorial Park, commemorates the loss of HMAS Sydney on the 19th of November in 1941. The entire crew of 645 were lost at sea after an engagement with a German raider off the west coast of Australia. The Wall of Remembrance lists all the 645 sailors that were serving on board the Sydney when she went down. The Waiting Woman sculpture. This is a symbol of the mother or wife waiting for a sailor to return home. This memorial was actually created before the ship the Sydney was actually found, only discovered in 2008 in a depth of 2.5 kilometres of water off the West Australia coast. The silver dome above, of 645 seagulls each touching, represents all the sailors on board. This fountain was a later addition after the Sydney was actually discovered with the coordinates of where she now lies. I've always been interested in this story, how a German raider got the upper hand on the pride and joy of the Australian fleet. Well worth the read if you're interested in maritime stories. The Point Moore Lighthouse is a spectacular sight that stands out proudly amidst the Geraldton landscape. Standing 34 metres high, it was the first all-steel tower to be built on the mainland of Australia back in 1878. And close to the lighthouse was a well-established bird of prey nest.
Something's in the air.
And now for a quick look at some of the low-cost and free camps that we stayed at on this trip. And Shadow's always quick to get out and explore every time we stop. Cliff Head was a free camp, but now the council charged $20 per night because people were overstaying their welcome. But still well worth it, and right on the Indian Ocean, beautiful views. Green Head, more pristine beaches and headlands, and very easy walking trails. This one was also shadow friendly. Sandy Cape, $20 a night for 2 adults and 2 children. Great location, right next to the beach, and looked like the absolute perfect campsite when we arrived. But a severe weather warning was issued. 50 to 70 km/h winds, rain, cold. We were rocking. We were virtually rocking in the van. It was like we were back on our boat again. A good mate of mine even offered to come and offer his assistance. But with all bad weather, it came to pass. And after 3 days of torrential rain, wind and everything else thrown at us, clear skies returned. In good weather, we've tagged this site as another hidden gem. Absolutely beautiful. Just sitting right behind the beach. Some beautiful walks and headlands on the Turquoise Coast. This really has some stunning, beautiful coastal scenery, and with the drone we were able to capture it on a calm day. Really liked all the private campsites here. We just walked down to the beach. The sand was fairly soft. Now there was a sign telling people not to drive on the beach.
I feel I'm stuck in reverse somehow, but it ain't no one's fault that I am stuck here. No one to blame this on.
And this Isuzu was getting the ultimate test. It was only 3 days since he picked it up from the dealership.
I shouldn't stay.
Oh, here's the co-pilot, relaxing on the beach.
Finally,
Hang on, what's the umbrella for?
the shadow.
Well, after all, Shadow is a king, and he's just turned 13. On the road again, and we head to Lobster National Park. The information says it supports a high diverse flora, meaning the wildflowers are really good at this time of the year. It's a fairly good dirt road up to the entry to the national park, and then it's a single lane bitumen road through the park, and it's also caravan friendly.
Something's in the air. I can feel it everywhere. Every color seems to bloom, and there's light in every room.
Best time to see the wildflowers is from August to October, and September is when almost the entire state is in bloom simultaneously.
But now the sun is rising, and we're new people. Let's be new people. There's summer. Don't let me down, down, down. Don't let me down, down, down. I wanna be up, 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 so high. 'Cause I've been down, down, down. I've been down, so down, and now I'm done. I'm aiming for the sky. Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
Next we head to Cervantes, starring at the RAC Park and also visiting the Lobster Shack. So before lunch we opted to do the tour through the lobster factory.
The fall is coming. I can feel it.
Perfect. If you just want to wait in this room next door.
Part of the preparation of the lobsters is to flush them in clean salt water for a period of up to 2 weeks prior to getting them ready for sale.
Show you what their natural habitat is like. As you can see in the video, they do swim quite quickly, but they also spend a lot of time hiding under rocks and corals. Yes, this is she. I'll come around and show you all the right. You can also see that she's thrown a few of her legs. So you see where they're sort of dark red in there? That's where they've actually started to grow back. So it only takes 2 to 8 weeks for them to regrow their limbs. Grab it just below the eyes. If you look further in, on the ask that you guys do hold them over the crates, because obviously we don't want them to keep rocks. But there you go. Quite impressive. He's about 20 years old, yeah. So So they just sort of keep growing. I was reading the other day that they can get to like 5 kilograms, which is 50 years old. What's that? Yeah, they are. But I don't know that in some months it might it's just what they can grow right now.
And this is the lobster traps they use. So my image of the lobster shack was some little old timber building, which it was in the 60s, but the business has certainly grown, and now it's a first-class restaurant. So we decided to have the whole lobster experience, and we both had 2 halves with a bottle of wine. It was a brilliant day. We didn't have breakfast, and we certainly didn't eat dinner that night. If you've enjoyed the Turquoise Coast, that's all, folks.